Do you think it's hard to get a TEDx talk, or like for the people who are like, oh, I might be wanting to do that?
Yeah, it's a lot simpler than you think. It's all about the idea we're spreading and why you. The framework that we use to find your idea is you want to pick a narrative or a set of beliefs that majority of people think is one way and be contrarian to what that set of beliefs is, or that 80 to 90% of people currently think that about that thing, and explain, why it's wrong or how could it be done better. But then I gave the TEDx talk on car accident when I was 17 on August 30th, 2017. Drove off a cliff, broke my neck, back, wrist, and elbow, had a brain injury, was in a coma for a week. That was probably the most intimate thing that I would have wanted people to know about me before meeting me.
Yeah,
But
crazy
then I gave a
accidents.
TEDx talk on it. And then it became kind of like public knowledge already. But I have no idea how to help a parent of a child with autism. But Quentin has 6 children. 2 of them are autistic. I helped him get booked for a TEDx talk so he could give a TEDx talk titled
Stage now. What's been your favorite talk to listen to, or if they haven't spoken yet, what's the one you're most excited about? Like favorite topic? Do you think everybody should give a TED talk? If you've ever wanted to give a TEDx talk, this is the episode for you, because we dive into exactly what you need, the specific steps to make it happen, removing all the self-doubt, showing you how easy it is. I talk with a very good friend of mine, Ryan Brady, who helps people to land TEDx talks. He helps them to grow their brand, their business, how to use speaking on stages like this as a leverage to grow your brand. And he helps people actually get booked. It's not as hard as you think. He'll even show you the steps now to do it by yourself, because many people think it's very hard. And then we also dive into other areas of growing our business, the journey we've been on, personal development, becoming the person who you see today. Me and Ryan have been friends since like 6 years now, I think. So it's been a wild journey. We dive into that, and then especially TEDx, which is an awesome stage to be on. Hope you enjoy. See you on the inside. Welcome, Ryan Brady. Awesome to have you. First things, because we're both quite public facing, what's something you wish people knew more about you? They don't often share enough, actually. What's something you wish people knew more?
So I wish people knew more. I would say it was what I gave my first TEDx talk on, but then I gave the TEDx talk on car accident when I was 30, when I was 17 on August 30th, 2017. Drove off a cliff, broke my neck, back, wrist, and elbow, had a brain injury, was in a coma for a week, woke up, forgot how to walk and talk, speak English and walk. That was probably the most intimate thing that I would have wanted people to know about me before meeting me.
Yeah,
But
crazy
then I gave a
accidents.
TEDx talk on it. And then it became kind of like public knowledge already, but maybe the TED talk got taken down. So it's good to put that back out there if someone doesn't know about that already.
We'll dive into the story.
Sure.
But is there something else you wish people knew more about you?
Um,
Or a lesson from that, maybe?
I'm on a mission to be a polyglot. I don't really talk about that anymore. I mean, I did when I was like 15, but it's a little bit beyond 15 years old now. So
Hell yeah.
that's one. Yeah.
That's awesome. Why is being a polyglot so valuable for you, you feel?
Yeah. When I was 15, I was living in Mexico with a host family, and it was in the Yucatan. They could all speak Spanish, but they could also speak Mayan. And I could understand Spanish okay at the time, but then they would just turn their heads and start speaking Mayan, like Bashkawalik and like words like that I would have no idea what they were saying. And I thought that is the most powerful thing, that I can be standing or sitting right in front of this person, and then they can turn their head and I can't understand them. It's totally private. That is crazy. I want that. I want more of that. And it was
That's
to have
crazy.
that capability after I saw what I lacked when I was 15. So my goal was 4 languages. I'm at 2.5 right now. And
Hell yeah.
Lao Fei is helping me, and Xiaoguo Chinese is helping me get to 4.
Hell yeah. We're on our way. That's awesome.
Oh, can't hear you.
I think
Check.
Is
Is that my audio?
can you hear me? I think it's my internet. But just let me know if you hear
No.
me.
Weird.
Might just take a sec to come back.
AirPods.
Because I can hear you fine. Can you hear me?
You could hear me before, right? I mean, you can still hear me.
Yeah. I can still
Yeah,
hear you.
you can
Can you
hear
hear
me.
me?
It says
Mark,
my
we'll need to delete this part.
microphone. You can
could
mute
be your
recording, but
headphones.
you can't switch mics. Check, check. Say something.
Can you hear me?
Can you hear me?
Yeah. Is it okay if I don't use these? Is my
Yeah,
audio
for sure.
still
Yeah,
okay?
for sure.
Okay. Because these were great audio. I don't know why they canceled, but
No worries. I might be hearing
I
myself.
might-
Let me see. Yeah, I can hear myself.
Yeah,
Can you turn down
I
the
can hear
volume
myself.
maybe?
turn down the volume. Yeah, let's see here.
Well, if you're not using headphones, of course.
You said you could hear some background noise. Is that what you said?
No, when you took out the headphones, I could hear myself speaking.
Oh, okay. I think they're working again now. I don't know what happened there, but I guess
Cool.
it's fine now. I can hear you. You can hear me. All right.
Yeah. Amazing. I was saying yeah, it's so cool how you value languages actually, and I think what were your top values in Day with Destiny? Like the
The
top
most
three,
recent
like one or
one,
two.
2020, 2025 or 2022?
Let's say 2025, the updated version.
Like love, health, and I got it with me. Of course.
You gotta have it. Mine's also here.
Love, health, and building.
Building. Awesome.
Yeah.
But I think it's the first one that really drives you, dude. Like,
Yeah.
because you value connecting. I would call it, connection through languages, through speaking, through getting people to speak, through running a business. Everything has that intertwined love or connection route, I would say. And that's probably and it's very powerful to find out what makes you tick. Because that's what's gonna keep you going. Because if you ever do stuff that doesn't align with that, then it would burn you out. Tell me about how is love and connection like fueling your business these days? Do you help people get on TEDx stage and speaking gigs?
Yeah. So
Why do you do that?
I'd say it's actually pretty selfish. And here's why. So, for example, I'll take one of my clients, for example. His name's Quentin Mezitin. I have no idea how to help a parent of a child with autism, but Quentin has 6 children. 2 of them are autistic. So
Oh wow.
I helped him get booked for a TEDx talk so he could give a TEDx talk titled How to Support Parents of Children with Autism. It got 17,000
Awesome.
views organically so far. So like that's the selfish way that
Wow.
I can help and connect people is like I might not know how to help a parent of a child with autism, but I can put the expert in that in the place where he can connect with the people that were meant to connect with him. And that's like this way it's selfish is I still feel like I did something to help those parents of kids with autism, even though I don't know how to do it, but I can put the person in the right place to make that happen, if that kind of makes sense.
That's yeah. That's so cool. Why is that meaningful for you? You feel like, I mean, what's that selfish?
Why is it selfish or why is it meaningful?
Why is it meaningful? Like behind the feeling.
Yeah, because I think it's such a cool thing to the same feeling that I got when I started reading the comments on my first TEDx talk. People that had also had brain injuries that were saying, "Oh my gosh, no way, that happened to me too. Thank you so much for like speaking about this. I really
Wow.
needed to hear this." To know that
Wow.
I'm helping other people have that feeling. Like when I messaged Quentin, because it's really hard to describe to someone what that feeling is like for that specific person that can resonate and connect with a very specific kind of person that you can't. But when he felt it, I texted him and he said, I said, how did it feel? Like, how does it feel seeing these comments? He said, I'm teared up. Like he's crying because of like how much it just touched him to see those parents commenting on it. And knowing that that is the feeling that these people are getting, it's powerful, man. It's a really powerful feeling to have. And I love how I can give other people that feeling of recognizing that they would be selfish if they didn't give that TEDx talk for those people that listened to it and needed to hear it.
Totally. I think you started with a different reason to do TEDx talks. because I've known you for a long time. But I think it's very important that people know this reason now. Like, yeah, many people, they just want to do a TEDx talk because it's cool, and or because they want to show their mom that they've done a TEDx talk, which is fine. But I think it's pretty powerful to know that afterwards, um, yeah, help humans are designed to help others. Like, we're community driven creatures, and being able to help others solve their problems and become better is very meaningful. So I appreciate that you're seeing that a lot now, because you did your first TEDx talk just to have that story out there. Because people don't know, Ryan got in a car crash because he was driving too fast, went off a cliff instead of crashing into a truck. You want to tell it a little bit, because you tell it very well. Just the
Yeah.
shorter version.
Yeah, the elevator pitch version of the story, right? August 30th, 2017. It was the 6th day of my senior year of high school.
Mm,
I was driving to school with my little brother, who was 15, and I was speeding. I
mm,
was going 39 miles per hour in a 25 miles per hour zone. And he looked up at me. He said, "Hey, Ryan, you think you should slow down?" I said, "No, don't worry about that. Everything's going to be okay." Thinking I was a invincible teenager, like a lot of teenagers out there that are driving. And I should have listened to him. About 10 seconds after he told me that, we go around a curve. And right as we round that bend, there's a construction truck driving over that line in the middle of the road. And I realized in that moment, if I hit the brakes, I'm going too fast. This is going to be a head on collision. It's going to kill the truck driver, kill my brother, and kill me. And anything was better than that. So I decided to turn to the right to avoid the guaranteed death for everyone. But to our right, there was no road. There was an 80-foot cliff. Car was off the cliff, flipped 6 times. I don't know if, I mean, I know you have brothers, but for the person listening,
yeah.
imagine what it would feel like to kill a sibling, right? It would be a guilt you would never be able to live with.
Mm,
Fortunately, nothing physical happened to my brother. But me sitting in the driver's seat 1 foot from him, I broke my neck, back, wrist, elbow, collarbone, had a TBI, brain injury, traumatic brain injury, was in a coma for a week. And I woke up from that coma, and it made me forget how to walk and forget how to talk. So it affected my long term memory.
yeah. It's crazy that,
Yeah.
yeah. Awesome that you're still alive, because it was. I've heard this story so many times, but it's the
Yeah.
craziest story, dude. Fucking.
Yeah. You've heard it plenty of times now. Yeah. You could probably give it, but you go speak on it.
Yeah, but you got the good details though. Like, yeah, if people don't know this story, it's now Ryan also goes around and gives this story to high school kids about driving safety, just so that they understand, you know, speeding can be a little bit more dangerous than just for the thrill of it. But yeah. But your main business is, apart from speaking, is helping people to speak and share their message, right? How long have you been doing this for now?
The TEDx booking business, the TEDx
Yeah.
booking
Hmm.
placement business, whatever you call it. The LLC was incorporated June of 2022. The first dollar cash collected, meaning first client, was January 2023. Um, I
Sweet.
even remember. I
That's
even
2 years.
remember this. You want to know how far back we go, Oscar? You're the one
Oh
that
yeah.
helped me create the Stripe account for the
Oh
business.
yeah. True. True. True.
Yeah, man. Yeah, I didn't. I was like,
That's fun.
Oscar, you're using Stripe. What is this Stripe thing? Like, how does this work? Like, oh, let me help you
Mm,
out. This is how you make the account.
good stuff. Good
Yeah.
stuff. So you booked quite a few people on the TEDx stage now. What's been your favorite talk to listen to, or if they haven't spoken yet, what's the one you're most excited about? Like, favorite topic?
Yeah. Good question. So we have as of the time we're recording this, we have 50 TEDx bookings for our clients so far. Of those, I think it's
Well,
30, like 38 people, because some people have gotten booked more at more than one. Um, I'd say my favorite was probably Jake April. His TEDx talk is
who's that?
uploaded. If you go on YouTube, you check it out. Jake April TED Talk. The reason it was my favorite was because he was talking about the effect that first impressions have, and he's got
Mm,
cerebral palsy, so he struggles to walk and to talk, and
mm,
he was the fastest client at the time that we had ever gotten booked for TEDx talk. We didn't know how long it would take. We didn't know if it would be longer because he has, cerebral palsy or what would happen. But he ended up setting the
Mhm.
record at that time. It's been broken now, but at the time it was 8 weeks. 8 weeks of submitting his application until he got
Nice.
selected. But I watched it and I almost choked up. I was like, wow, this is a very like I'm so proud of him that he did this.
Mm.
I would really recommend you check it out. It's on YouTube. It's a
Say the
really
name again?
impressive one. Jake April, Jake space April, like the month. If you
That's
just go on
awesome.
YouTube, you type Jake April TED Talk, it probably come up there. But I think it was most powerful because he like became the person he needed to be to actually deliver it. And it's a very difficult
Mm.
thing to give a TEDx talk because of all the stuff you have in your head, but
Yeah.
probably even
What did you
harder when
talk
you have
about?
cerebral palsy. Say it again.
Did you talk about cerebral palsy, or what was the
Yeah.
topic?
Yeah. So it was you're going to love this. Take the first step, even if it's a wobbly one, is the title of this talk.
Oh, that's so good because he has cerebral palsy.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah. So that's
Damn,
probably
that's
my
so
favorite.
cool.
The one I'm most proud
Um,
of so far.
Sweet. Do you think everybody should give a TEDx talk?
No, I don't think so. Um,
Why not?
So some people that I'll talk to, they'll say the reason they don't want to give it yet, it's because their story is still forming, but it's not about the story,
Hmm.
it's about your idea worth spreading. Um,
Hmm.
but some people want to give a TEDx talk for different reasons that might not be the best reason to guide you to do a TEDx talk in the first place. I'm not
Hmm.
saying you
Like what?
shouldn't do a TEDx talk because you have the wrong reason. It's more
Yeah.
um, like for some people, it might be like a waste of their time. Like if their goals are get a six pack in the gym from working out, then doing a TED talk wouldn't help you at all getting that goal. So I'd say
Oh, of course.
it has to support the goals you have. Like we only work with I'll tell you this. So about 2 years ago, my business partner, he asked me, Ryan, what kind of ROI or difference do TEDx speakers see before and after giving the TEDx talk? We
Uh
can't,
huh.
have a business helping people do this if we don't know what changes. And I wanted to sound
Hmm.
smart and cool. So I said, well, for me, I saw a 43% increase in my LinkedIn email open rate. And he kind of laughed and said, that's cool, but that's just an anecdote, Ryan. We need data. I said, okay, touche. And
Yeah.
we interviewed 30 TEDx speakers. And what we found was actually
Hmm.
pretty interesting. 8 out of 10 TEDx speakers saw no difference, no change before and after giving a TEDx talk. 2 out of 10 did.
Hmm.
We wanted to figure out what's the difference between these two groups of people. And with the 8 out of 10, we realized the pattern they all had in common was they all expected the TEDx talk to almost
Do.
function like a magic button to make them an automatic
Hmm.
Brene Brown, Simon Sinek, wealthy, well known,
Oh.
flown out around the world, 6-figure speaking fee. Um, and that's not how it works. It's not like
Yeah.
an automatic
Hmm.
thing. Whereas the 2 out of 10 that did get the return, it's because they were specific, strategic, and intentional with the exact return or change they
Hmm.
wanted to see the moment they decided wanted to give the TEDx talk. So, answering your question, who is it not worth to do a TEDx talk for someone that it's not in alignment with their goals and where they want to go anyways? Um, I would say that's the person that's probably not worth it for,
Yeah.
and that's 8 out of 10 people based on the data we collected a couple of years ago.
Hmm. It could still be seen as like a personal challenge, though, like to give a
Yeah,
talk that's recorded,
sure.
that's going to be quite officially edited. Um,
But then your goal would
yeah.
be personal development and growing as an individual, and that TEDx talk would directly support that.
Yeah.
So at the same time, it would support the
Yeah.
goal
Yeah.
that you had anyways. So you'd be a 2 out of 10 if that were the
For sure.
case.
Nice. Cool. Cool. Yeah. Just not to expect that it's going to be like a magic pill.
Yeah. Exactly. Yeah.
Right. Hmm. And do you think it's hard to get a TEDx talk, or like for the people who are like, oh, I might be wanting to do that? Should they? Do they have a shot at getting a TEDx talk?
Yeah, it's a lot simpler than you think. It's all about the idea we're spreading and why you.
Mm.
The framework
Mm.
that we use to find your idea is you want to pick a narrative or a set of beliefs that majority of people think is one way and be contrarian to what that set of beliefs is or that 80 to 90% of people currently think that about that thing, and
Okay.
explain, why it's wrong or how could it be done better. Like my first
Mm.
TEDx talk was like, if I say, "Hey, Oscar, do you want a brain injury?" You and every single person I've ever asked that question, I said,
No.
no, thank you. I'll pass." Right? Exactly.
Yeah.
Whereas the idea was, hey, you might not want one, but here's stuff you do find yourself with one. Unfortunately, you can make it one of the best things that ever ended up happening to you.
Wow.
Um, my second one was right now. Like, have you ever heard the phrase, "You're the average of the five people you spend the most time with"?
Yeah. Of course. That's why I
So
hang out with you all to
there
make
we go.
myself.
Right back at you. Exactly. Um, the the talk was, or the idea was, right now when you choose your college roommates, it's a lottery, and those people are going to be the five people you spend the most time with at a time in your life where it might have the
Mm.
longest term ripple effect. So
Mm.
why not be strategic with those five people you spend the most time with at a time in your life
Mhm.
when it would be the probably smartest time to ever do that? So the narrative and being contrarian to it, just that is the framework, and then the only evidence you need is your own anecdotal experience to prove the idea.
Mm.
um, the Once you have that like solid, the only thing preventing you from getting booked for a TEDx talk is how many rejections can you tolerate. We had a client that I guested on his podcast last week, and he gave his, I think it was in a few months back. It's not uploaded yet at the time that we're recording this, but it will be in the future. His name's Steve Spiro. If you want to check it out in the future, um, and we applied to 212 TEDx events for him.
Wow.
So for the average person, they might not have that time, but literally once you have the idea and the why you, the only thing preventing you is how much rejection can you tolerate and how much time are you willing to give
Yeah.
that rejection
Mhm.
toleration without, um, you talk about delayed
Mm.
gratification, right? It's totally that.
Yeah. How long did that take? Was that over a year of applications?
For Steve,
Yeah.
it was 10 months for him.
Okay. Not too bad. But yeah, 200 is a lot. You don't really have that time for that.
It
Unless
depends
you
on the
do, but
person.
yeah,
Yeah, when I
it
was
depends on the
19,
person.
I did it all. I would have done it all day, right? When I was 19, but
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah,
totally,
yeah.
totally depends on the person. Yeah.
I totally forgot your first TEDx talk was about 5 towers. The That's sick.
The
That's what
second
it's
one
called now.
was, yeah. Yeah, it was 5 towers. It wasn't called the
Yeah.
talk wasn't called 5 towers, but that was the well, not a lot of people know that. That's funny. You would totally remember that.
Yeah.
Yeah. 5
Yeah.
towers co-living incubator was the anecdotal basis and evidence that proved the idea as true. Yeah.
Yeah. That's very helpful, actually. I hadn't thought about the needing it to be a little bit controversial.
Yeah.
I think knowing that would have helped me secure my TEDx. Because for people listening, I think I was very fast. I might have been your fastest one. Like, come on, one application, one acceptance. But I didn't end up giving it because the organizers, after practicing many times with them, like whatever, 1 or 2 weeks before, they're like, "Yeah, you're not ready." So my talk wasn't ready. I was accepted to TEDx Geneva, but yeah, I didn't have what they were looking for because TEDx Geneva, apparently they seem to have a very high standard for their talks, which is great. Um, because yeah, it's quite a nice thing, and the Geneva one is pretty solid.
I
But yeah,
love that
man, if
story,
I
man. I tell that to clients all the time, or potential clients, of like, we were at the Tony Robbins Leadership Academy event on Zoom at like 11:52 p.m. July 13th, and
mm-hmm.
do you remember it?
Yeah, I can tell the story on that one
Yeah,
because
please. I want to hear your perspective of it. Yeah.
Ryan always says like, "Hey, you should give a TEDx talk to everybody he meets." And I'm like, I don't know what I should talk about. He says, "No problem. I got a GPT for that." He says, "Here's Oscar's Instagram. GPT, tell me 10 ideas. Bam, 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 bam. 10 ideas for Oscar. Which one do you like? This one? Cool. Here's the application page for TEDx Geneva. Oh, it closes in 10 minutes. Go record your intro video. Just fuck it. And then apply." And I record my intro video with a topic that I was an expert on. Convincingly enough, in the basement of a friend's house, just on my phone, in 15 minutes. And I applied. And then a couple of weeks later, they said, "Hey, we like your idea. You're accepted." And so that one application, one acceptance. Um, yeah, but the being prepared to like have a good ideas is actually very important. But taking the first step is so easy.
Um,
It's just
and,
yeah, going on the website
and
of
I remember
the event. Go on.
that was the main reason why I wanted to help you do it, because I did not expect you to be selected at 1 out of 1, because that's very rare.
Mm,
Like I've only had you were the second person that ever happened with. Um,
yeah,
the first one was like
crazy.
Justin Rogers. It was before I ever even had the business. It was just the first person I helped. Um, but it was more to show you how easy it was to do it. So you would like realize the only thing limiting yourself from doing it would
Yeah,
be yourself. If you could do it in 15 minutes, right? If it was a
totally.
priority, you could make it happen.
Exactly. Exactly. We were on a Tony Robbins break during our event and made it happen. That was super fun. How long does it usually take, you think? How many applications typically? Have you calculated that?
Yeah. So on average for our clients, it's 6 to 8 months. And normally it's between 10
Okay.
to 20 a month that we submit. So 15 times, let's say seven, we'll split
Yeah.
it down the middle. Normally around 100 applications
Oh,
submitted
yeah.
normally. Yeah.
Quite a few. And you
Yeah.
had talked with a couple of like professional speakers. They also did the same, like took a guy like 100 applications,
Yeah.
right? Yeah, because for you it
Yeah.
also happened quite fast for the
Y-
first one too.
Yeah. For the first one. Yeah. I know well, the first one I was selected to, yeah, it was fast. But I know after I got like I took a year and a half writing a script because I thought you needed a whole TED talk written to then be selected,
Hmm.
and I got a big fat
Mm.
rejection after I sent that to my hometown TEDx organizer, and
Oh wow.
I was like, "This rejection sucks," and you know this already, Oscar, but I'll repeat it. I interviewed about 7 different TEDx speakers, and one of them had given 3, and I asked him how many,
Yeah,
or he asked me how many do you think I applied to, and I said, "Well, 3. Obviously, it's just how TED talks work." And he kinda grinned at me and he said, "No, I applied to 300 to land these 3." And I said, "Oh, so this is a
crazy.
numbers game." He said, "Bingo." And that was kind of the nugget that I needed to go guns a-blazing and go crazy with it and just keep applying. And, I was
Yeah.
felt like I had unlimited time and energy at the time, so that was all I did for days was apply, apply, apply.
Yeah. I think it's very important, and let me know if this is true actually, that your talk is aligned with the TEDx organizer's theme of the event. Because they often set a theme, no?
So what we've noticed is, yes, if they have a theme before. So only about like 20% of TEDx events will pick the theme before the actual event. Around
Oh,
another 20% will see all the applications first and then pick the ideas they like. Let's say there's 10 ideas, they pick the 10 and
and
they
then figure out the
create
theme.
a theme that would like be an umbrella above the 10 ideas
Hmm.
that they did choose. And then the other 60% of TEDx events don't even have a theme.
Oh, wow.
Yeah,
That's
so
interesting.
somewhere around that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Probably the two that I applied to TEDx Geneva and TEDx IE, they both have put themes beforehand, which
Mhm.
makes you like kind of shape your pitch a bit
Yeah.
before. Ah, interesting. So yeah, applying to a lot of TED Talks is important if you really want to do one. You can do that, yeah, just to the websites. Anybody can apply to any one. There's not usually any limitations, right?
Let's say about 5% uh, are have like limitations that they give you. But I mean
Hmm.
the limitation won't normally prevent you from submitting the application, but it will prevent you from being selected. Like
Yeah.
one of our clients, she really wanted to speak at one that was like 5 minutes away from her town. And it was like a local
Mm.
university. Um,
Right.
but then I was like, let's do it, let's submit this, and we're like in the process of submitting. And then it said, what's your affiliation with the university? Are you an alumni? Are you a current student? Or your staff? And she's like, oh shoot, I'm none of those. So even though it's 5 minutes away, I couldn't even speak there. They wouldn't let me speak there. So
Damn.
it's only about 5% of TEDx events have that, like you need to be from here or
Mm.
have some affiliation with this location. The rest, it's
Oh, I see.
totally
Quite
depends on
free.
the idea. Yeah, but some cover travel, some don't. It really depends on that person's specific relationship with the organizer. My first one, they didn't
Usually
cover
at
travel
TEDx,
or the stay. My second one, they did.
yeah. Oh, usually TEDx is nonprofit though, right?
Yeah. Mhm.
Yeah. So
Not
there's, yeah.
usually 100% of the time, at least for now in 2026 when we're recording this.
Yeah. Think, yeah, for phase, there was the limitation of it was only women speaking in
Mhm.
Shenzhen, in
Yeah.
China. That was the limitation. Um, yeah, that was interesting. Awesome, dude. And so, where's the business going now? Like you've been getting 50 people at least on TEDx talks. What's the 10-year vision?
Oof, 10-year vision.
Or 5 or 10 years?
So, yeah, I think 10 years would be limiting. Like the vision I have for where I would want it in 10 years would be probably limiting it too much because of what would be
Hmm.
capable in 10 years. Like
Yeah.
I'm 25 when we're recording this right now. If you would have asked
What?
me at 15 what my 10-year vision would be, I would have never
Yeah,
even
true.
been able to explain what it is right now, what I have right now, what I built
Yeah,
and
for
so
sure.
forth. So I think probably 3 years is more realistic because like 3 years ago, I had just started this business and do you remember when I was at I went to Valencia to your apartment and like we had the business mastery remote with Tony and his business mastery
Yeah,
people?
yeah.
Like, dude, I would have that was 2.5 years ago. I wouldn't have
Yeah,
even
that's
been
just 2
able to,
years.
comprehend how
Time flies.
far you and I have both. Yeah, exactly. Right. Um, but in 3 years, I would say, I want to be getting speakers consistently booked for TEDx talks and then helping them leverage that TEDx talk that they've given to get booked and paid
Mm.
to speak. Um, there will probably be other things that will come up from it
Mhm.
that will be important. But right now, those are the two things because a lot of our clients, they want a TEDx talk, but it's, remember I said like the 2 out of 10, 8 out of 10 thing? Most of them
Yeah.
want more speaking engagements and they want the TEDx talk that they give to function as lead generation to land more speaking engagements
Mm.
and or increase their current speaking fee if they're already doing speaking. Um, so the TEDx talk for a lot of the people we serve, that's just the vehicle to function as a business asset for what they're already working on. Um,
Mm.
the next product will be like an upsell to sell people, hey, you now have your TEDx talk. Let us handle getting you booked and paid to speak and get you booked at,
Nice.
2 speaking engagements a month and take a 20% commission or something like that. Not necessarily a speaker's bureau, because it's more outbound as opposed to a speaker's bureau. They just kind of list your profile on a website and wait.
Mm. Yeah. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Awesome. So helping people get paid to speak. Why is speaking such a powerful profession, you think? Like, it's like a very American thing as well. But help us
Interesting.
understand who are not Americans. Like, why is speaking so cool?
So for me, I think it's
I love it, but yeah.
yeah, I love it too, and I think I love it because I know it's like one of the things some people fear more than death. Like a lot of people have a very big
Mm.
fear of public speaking, and I did too. I totally did too,
Yeah.
and I still do. Like every time before I get on stage, I'm like, I always have to like get in state, and it's like I think
Mhm.
it's a natural human thing, right? Um, it's more nerves. Like my heart will start beating fast, and I'm like, oh my gosh, oh my gosh, oh my gosh, and I like I'll look at my girlfriend and be like, it's happening again, and she's like, calm down. I'm like, I know, I know, I know. Thank you for an amazing engagement that has just happened. I appreciate this. This is connected with those that it's meant to connect with. Um, and like
Yeah.
I kind of go through that speech before I give the talk. But
Mm.
I think I like it because I know it's something that is so, at least right now when we're recording this, it's so safe from being replaced by AI because you can't
Mm.
replace a human speaker that has had uniquely human experiences. At least this is what I'm
Mm.
thinking right now. In 5 years, you and I might look back on this and watch this and just laugh and be like, oh my gosh, we're so dumb and uneducated on where things were going in the future. Um, but I like it because of that. And I think it's such a fulfilling thing. Like once you
Yeah.
speak
Mm.
and you deliver a really quality talk and people come up to it after and just say, thank you. That really connected
Mm.
with me because of XYZ. And then they tell you their story. And if you were authentic and vulnerable on stage, it's just
Mm.
it's incredibly fulfilling. I always tell people I work with, and most of them tend to agree with this. Like the moment you get off stage and people are coming up to you, thanking you, and you delivered an awesome engagement. Like I always say, if that was like a drug, that feeling, it's more for like the first few engagements you do. It kind of like tempers down a little bit after you kind of get used to it and you've done it a few times. But like that feeling would be the most popular drug on the planet if that feeling was a drug. It's one of the most incredible feelings for those first few engagements you do. Um, I think
Yeah.
that's another part of
Yeah.
it. I don't know why it's more popular in the United States. Might be just a cultural thing. I'm not totally sure. You're the halvesies. You're like a kind of part American, kinda ish, technically, and then you're
But
also
also, I just
European. So
maybe
you could
with
probably answer that question better than me.
I would, yeah, I would just, I think I just see more English speaking content, which is more Americans actually. So I just based on my feelings could be totally incorrect as well. Probably there are a bunch of Germans giving speeches on German stages too. Um, I just have a feeling like Germans they like to give super un no idea where that comes from. But I think especially if people are like, I want to do a TEDx talk, but I don't know what I would do it on. Because I was a little bit there. What would you tell that person? Do you hear me?
Say that one more time. My mic just glitched again. It cut out. So I'm just gonna go,
You're good.
this way here.
The, if a person, I can still hear myself though. No, okay, we're good. If a person's like, I want to give a TEDx talk, I think that would be cool. I love that feeling that Ryan is describing, but I have no idea what to talk about. Aside from using your GPT, what would you tell that person?
Um, so two things. I think there's a few different ways you can go about it. There's the more spiritual way you can go about it, which is speak on what you would feel selfish if you didn't speak on. Like for me, remember how I said it? I saw those comments on the YouTube channel. I would have
Yeah.
felt selfish if I didn't do it for those people that had just gotten a traumatic brain injury or had had one in the past and needed to see that talk. That's the more like spiritual answer to that question of there's that perspective, and that is
I love it.
totally legitimate. Whoever that person, you'd feel selfish if you didn't do your TED talk for. In Quentin's case, it was the parents of children with autism. He'd be selfish
Yeah.
if he never gave that TED talk. Then there's the more goal aligned, longer term future, which is if you want to use it for lead generation for speaking, figure out what is the pain point that the audiences at the future engagements you'd want to be speaking at are having, and speak on an idea that is relevant to that kind of person that maybe is a solution to that pain point that they're having. Like one of our clients, he speaks on he wants it to just function as lead generation for his speaking business. He's already a um, very long time speaker. I think he's almost 60. He's been part of NSA, National Speakers Association, for like 30 years.
Wow.
And for him, his TEDx talk is about what people are getting wrong about customer service and how there's such a deeply human connection part of customer service and what that could be costing people that don't understand that one thing correct. The goal being to land speaking engagements at companies that have customer service agents or whoever's helping their current customers. And what are they getting wrong and how much is that costing the business that is having them?
Yeah.
So it kind of depends.
Yeah. That's actually probably the best two answers. I would highlight one more thing that I like that Dean Graziosi says, which is that your mess can be your message, which is that whatever you've gone through is what you want to share. That's more on the spiritual side, but oftentimes when people say, I don't know what I would talk about, I don't have that much experience, but you do. You probably have some experience. If it's a kid delivering pizza, you can do a TEDx talk about delivering pizza for other kids if they have no idea. I don't know. Like for me, the TEDx talk was going to be on how intensive training events create very impactful transformations, similarly to taking psilocybin or therapy or just habit building. And I think that's the most effective way to change habits is through intensive events because it condenses so much emotion into one small space that you need to become a different person after you've been through an intense event. Similar to our Tony Robbins event, Joe Dispenza, meditation retreat, anything like that. But I didn't get the controversial part. I think now talking about it, it's a bit more controversial, but they're like, why intense events? Or I didn't, also, yeah, the stories were not good. I was going to include stories of famous people, then they were like, I don't like that famous person. I'm like, well, fuck you. Whatever. They didn't. They were like, you need more research. Yeah, they wanted. I think TEDx Geneva wanted really a lot more research, but yeah, that's why they have awesome events, and maybe that's a bit more stricter one, which is also they do great events. So
Did you
but
show
that's what
them
I would have done.
did you show them the Stanford research that Stanford did on the Tony Robbins events?
No, I didn't. Because I was a little bit afraid of bringing up Tony Robbins because already I was going to talk about Oprah a little bit, and one was like, I don't like Oprah. I was like, man, how am I supposed to do this thing?
Hmm,
Yeah,
interesting.
but yeah, they were giving off vibes of not being so into personal development.
Hmm.
But that's just the feeling. It could be completely incorrect. And if they're watching this, much love anyway, because they do set great events. So, um,
I mean, what you could
yeah,
have done is like talk about how
probably
like
different organizers
they're,
have different standards.
I mean, they're creating an event that is, I mean, it's a TEDx Geneva event. The goal is to get people to consider new perspectives. Why are they
Transformational.
spending? Yeah, exactly. Why are they spending their time organizing an event if your idea is not true?
Yeah, totally. Yeah, 100%. Yeah. So the point is that your mess can become your message. If you think that something went horribly wrong in your life, consider that could be the most beautiful thing and thing you need to share so that the people can learn from it as well. We're coming up on time soon. What's something that people need to know about either getting booked, being TEDx speaker? What's something that you wish we would have shared or you had been asked about?
Um, Interesting note. I don't. It might be common knowledge at this point when the person is watching this, but have you heard of Khan Academy?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, not as popular.
So
Well, I'm not a student actually. That's maybe why. But yeah, Khan
okay,
Academy.
yeah. So do you remember who Chris Anderson is?
The founder? No.
He wasn't the founder of TEDx, but he was like the head in charge of it. He recently resigned or
Hmm.
slash stepped down, and they found a replacement for him to be the new head of TEDx, and they chose Saul Khan of Khan Academy.
Of Khan
It's
Academy.
very interesting. Yeah.
That's interesting.
Um, yeah.
And
So that will
that's not.
probably cause some new ripple effects. But I know I interviewed one of my clients who he was selected at an event, and um, it could have been for political reasons or other stuff. But we had a client that she paid a reservation fee to have the 1 hour ideation session, and then she like changed her mind, and she was like a high up at a media organization in the United States. I'm not going to name the name, but it's a big news station that if you're
Mm-hmm.
American, you've heard this news station before, and
Sure.
you know it's definitely one side or the other. I'm not going to say
Mm-hmm,
which
mm-hmm.
side, but she she changed her mind, and my team, it was one of my appointment setters asked, why, what changed, and she said, insider intel, quote unquote. And I was like, okay, this is interesting. What is this insider intel that she knows that she no longer wants to give a TEDx talk? And
Yeah.
here's what I think it was, because we did some research, and one of the clients that was selected at another TEDx event interviewed the TEDx organizer to see what was going on. We have 4 clients speaking at TEDx Jasper. You've probably
Okay.
never heard of Jasper. It's a small town in Florida. If you think of Florida, you
Mm-hmm.
probably think of Miami or Tampa, right? Maybe Fort Lauderdale. Jasper is a
Yeah.
town in the very north of Florida, um, with a population of 1,500 people.
Wow.
He asked that TEDx organizer, and he said TEDx is making a push to try to get into more small communities around the world. And I think because this
Okay.
was the insider intel, this woman is the reason she didn't want to, because she's probably got a huge ego. She was the director of this media organization, and I don't think she wanted to, do a TEDx maybe for that reason. So that's probably something really
Could be.
interesting. Take it or leave it. It might be, relevant to the person listening or not. If anything, it shows you that, TEDx is getting easier and easier to get booked at. The harder part is leveraging it
Uh,
afterwards. And that's why I'm building the business to solve that problem in the next 3 years. Answering your
mm,
earlier question was because I see that pattern becoming more and more common, and, having more
oh,
potential clients in
interesting.
the future to be able to help. Yeah.
Mm. Yeah, that makes sense. Awesome. Yeah. Still super cool to do a TEDx talk.
Can I ask you one
Amazing.
question?
Awesome, right? Yeah, of course. And then we'll wrap up.
Yeah. Um, I think one of the most valuable things that I have had in my entrepreneurial journey has been our relationship, um, because of the impact we've
Me
both
too.
had on each other, right?
I
I remember I met
love
you from a LinkedIn DM when I was ditching a accounting class. I was like, shit,
crazy.
I need help, right? And I looked on the alumni group on the LinkedIn, and I saw you were from the same university, and you had gone there already, and you were a like accountability coach. I sent you a DM,
Yep.
right? I think I booked a call on your Calendly in your about section on LinkedIn. This was
Yep.
2019 or 2020, something like that. And I think it was 2020.
That's fine, I think. Yeah, after
And
COVID.
so I would ask you what can you said this is for the aspiring entrepreneur, the earlier stage entrepreneur. What can those people do to have relationships and build relationships like you and I have been able to, keeping each other accountable to our own growth so we don't feel alone, because there's always that
Mm,
like valley of despair when you're just getting started where like your current friend
mm,
group, nobody supports you, you're a total weirdo, they're like, what the
mm.
heck, come drink with me, come out, go party, whatever.
Yeah.
um, and then you kind of go through a period of loneliness, right? But you and I had each other through that period of loneliness, and we kind of helped each other grow through that really well. So, what would you tell the
Yeah.
person listening of how they can create relationships like that so they have a buddy to go through the valley of loneliness and despair together with?
Mm. Wow. And they might not feel lonely and despair. And they might feels like frustration and grinding and like, oh, there's so many easier options. But having someone to support you or being with other people in a similar journey is super helpful. Because like you said, with the average of the 5 people you hang out most with.
Yeah.
So what can people do? Man, I have so many answers for that. One is come to Bali. There's a bunch of us in Bali. But that might not be for most people. Other thing is also reaching out to people who you want to connect with is not as scary as it sounds like. Because if you just ask for help, say, hey, I'm doing this thing. I see you've done this thing that I want. Can you help me? 90% of people will say, hell yeah, I want to help you. Because people love to help others. If you're going to ask, hey, can you give me money or can you buy my service? Then they're probably not going to reply. But if you ask for help, then they're most likely going to reply because people like to help. And then the third thing would be to like get a business coach or join a community that's part of that. I'm sure there's a bunch in the world. Join a community. There's on Meetup, on Instagram, there's people that host these meetups, networking groups. Ryan just went the unconventional route of looking on LinkedIn for someone who can do it, the thing he was looking for, which is super powerful because, yeah, we've been to lots of events together and, yeah, then talk every week. And we introduce each other to many people. But I'd like that you asked this question because both you and Faye told me like I'm great at connecting with people because you said like, holy shit, you're inviting that many people to your birthday. I was like, oh, this isn't normal. I was like, I thought everybody would have that many people to invite. And Faye, and every night, every day, I'm like texting at least 10 people through DMs on Instagram or WhatsApp. And Faye's like, how do you have so many people to text? And I'm like, it just happens. So the formula is that I just like to connect with people. So it comes very naturally for me. But if you need a formula, do what I said, which is like to reach out to somebody you want or join a community. That will help a lot.
Yeah, I think
Is
that
that
is definitely
insightful?
something you're really good at. Yeah, absolutely. Because I know, like me, I got like three friends, and you're one of the three, right? So it's like definitely, I think that's an
Yeah.
expertise you have that you might not realize how good you are at it because you're
Mm,
not like that's all you
I
know,
love it.
right? So of course you don't know.
Yeah, yeah,
Like yeah, you love it and you've never seen anything besides this. Was totally normal to you, right?
yeah, yeah, exactly. And it's okay to not be a super connector. I like that term a lot. You don't need to know a bunch of people. Um, yeah, you don't need to know a bunch of people. Just know the one or two people that are going to help you and support you. That's the most important. Don't hang out with people who are not going to support your goals. And that might be the people you hang out right now. And you might need to change that a little bit. You can love those people from afar, but then have someone else who's actually going to like pull you up at the same time.
Hmm.
That's helpful. That's important.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's the hard part. You don't need to let go of the other people, but you need to have someone who can actually support you.
Yeah.
Because yeah, humans, we don't like to be excluded from our tribe, so sometimes we need to find another tribe that we can associate with
Yeah.
too. Yeah. What's the best way for people to find you, to connect with you, to learn about getting their TEDx talk if they want to, Ryan?
Yeah, I'd say LinkedIn is probably the best. Even though I do have more messages on LinkedIn, I have, a whole team of people working in the back end there to make sure nothing, gets by me. So just DM me on LinkedIn. If you want to use the keyword, let's say OSK, that way I'll know you're looking to get booked for TEDx talk and you came from Oscar's podcast. So OSK for short. I'll know exactly where you came from. Just DM me on LinkedIn with that
Cool.
word. I think you need to send a connection request, but you can add a note to the connection request with that as the note, and I'll know exactly where you came from if you want to set up a combo with me or one of my team to help you look at a path forward of getting you booked for a TEDx talk, or figure out if it makes sense or if it's a total waste of your time, which it could be too, right?
Yeah. Important to know. That's Ryan Brady, not related to the football player, but Ryan Brady
Correct.
on LinkedIn and Instagram. And check out his podcast too on YouTube. Now you got like 200 episodes, something like that.
Dude, we hit 200 subscribers like 2 days ago, and it's been like 2 years. So
Hell
it's
yeah.
yeah, speaking to expand. If you want to learn
Sick.
about growing your speaking business, I know I interviewed a lot of professional speakers over there that have shared some awesome information that has helped me build my speaking business and start getting booked and paid to speak there. So awesome content over there too.
Amazing. Thanks so much, Ryan.
Thank you, man. Love it.